Scientists say there may be a ninth planet in our solar system with a mass 10 times bigger than Earth. One big catch, astronomers still haven't seen it. Its possible existence is based on observations of the orbits of smaller objects, asteroids or comets. Two prominent astronomers argue that those orbits are explained by the mystery planet's gravity. If this so-called Planet 9 is real, it is at least 4 times farther from the Sun than Pluto. We're joined now by Space.com's Dave Brody. Dave, always good to see you. So far, the argument in favor of Planet 9's existence is circumstantial. How strong do you think the evidence is?
Hey, Antonio. Well, as a proper skeptical science reporter, I'm cautiously pessimistic. However, the space geek in me really wants this to be an actual prelude to a detection that could happen 6 months from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Now, this is so far out there, as I said, at least 4 times as far as Pluto, maybe 200 times further from the Sun than the Earth is. Would it surprise you that a planet that large and so far away could still be pulled into the Sun's orbit?
No, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it really isn't that large, although it's 10 times putatively the mass of the Earth. It's made out of hydrogen and helium, lightweight stuff, right? Stuff that's lighter than air here on Earth. So size-wise, it might only be twice the diameter of Earth, so it's actually pretty small. And also, the way that we think planets evolve, this thing probably evolved, if it exists, much closer into the Sun and then gently spiraled out over the 4.5 billion year lifetime of the solar system. So not surprising at all that it hasn't been seen so far.
Now, the circumstantial evidence is based on these orbits of other objects. Why can we see them and not the planet?
Right. They are, although they're far out, they are much, much closer in, and they are Kuiper Belt objects, so we've been specifically looking for them for the last 15 years or so. This is what led to the demotion of Pluto, the fact that we discovered a lot of other objects that are very much like Pluto. And these particular 6 are weird in that they are traveling not together, but in very similarly inclined elliptical orbits. The chances of them being where they are doing what they're doing without the influence of something like a Planet X is astronomically small. It's about 0.007%.
Now, again, you just mentioned this a little bit earlier, but how soon do you think we'll know for sure? Because I do imagine that every astronomer in the world is going to try and confirm this.
Well, you need a pretty big telescope, and it needs to be one that can see objects like this. First of all, the planet is not a star, so it's not very hot, so it's not going to be glowing with its own light. It might be faintly radiating in the infrared, so you need an infrared telescope or an infrared detector on your other wavelength telescope. There is one satellite now called the NEOWISE, formerly the WISE mission, which mapped everything around us in the infrared and didn't pick up this object, but this object would be just at the lower limit of what that thing could see. So that's why it's really questionable how long it's going to take. It might take until we have something like the James Webb Space Telescope, which is an infrared telescope in orbit, or it could be found next week. It's one of these things where we don't have very many of these kind of detections. The last time a planet was predicted, it was the planet Neptune, which was discovered several weeks after its orbital position was predicted based on the effects that it had on planet Uranus. And so the track record is very good, but the track record only consists of a couple of detections.
And Dave, only about 20 seconds left. If it exists, what would it tell us about the solar system?
It would tell us that we're not special after all, because as we look at other solar systems, all of the other stars that we look at around which we know there are planets, there are about 2,000 of these, the most common type of planet that we see are these slightly smaller than Neptune, larger than the Earth planets. And our solar system, up till now, didn't have one. Yeah. So that tells us that we're not special.
It's fascinating. Dave Brody, Space.com, always good to see you. Thank you. I'm Antonio Mora. Thanks for joining us. For the latest news anytime, you can head over to aljazeera.com. Ray Suarez is up next with Inside Story. Have a great night.